What if we have been thinking about cash flow and capital growth all wrong? The real lever isn't which one is better, it's which one you prioritize first. They're not rivals, they are tools, but the order you use them can change your entire portfolio outcome. Get the sequence wrong, trying to optimize income too early, and you can quietly lose around $480,000 in future equity. Then wonder why you are stuck at one or two properties. And the worst part, you often won't notice for 3 to 5 years. I'm Rusty. I've sat across the table from hundreds of busy professionals like you, and I keep seeing the same pattern. People choose what feels like the safe deal, and a few years later, they're asking, why am I not moving forward? In this video, I'll show you the numbers behind it, explain the sequence step by step, and give you a quick, silly check you can use before you buy, so you don't commit to something that stalls you. And stick around because I'll show you the two investor example where one decision creates a $480,000 equity gap. Quick note, this is general education, not personal financial advice. Before we get into the three stages, let's get crystal clear. What do cash flow and capital growth actually mean for you? Cash flow is the rental income left after every bill. Mortgage, insurance, strata, maintenance, everything is paid. If you have got money left over, you're positively geared. If you're short, you're negatively geared. And the gap comes out of your own pocket. Capital growth is different. It's an increase in your property's value over time. That's your leverage engine. Without it, you can't keep buying, no matter how good your rent looks. Quick way to remember that. Cash flow is your holding power. Growth is your buy-in power. For example, buy a $500,000 property. It rents for $650 a week, and after costs, you are $100 a week ahead. But if it grows at 6% a year, compounding can build far more wealth than weekly surplus ever will. Here's the kicker. Income and growth don't pull equal weight at every stage of your journey. So the question isn't cash flow versus growth. It's what does your portfolio need to do next? Yes, both matter. But here's where most people get it wrong. They chase the wrong one at the wrong time, and by the time it shows up, it's harder to fix. Here's a trap I see all the time. Focus on cash flow too early, and you often sacrifice the equity you need to scale. Because growth builds the deposit and borrowing momentum for your next move. But go too hard on negative gearing, and the shortfall can chew into your household cash flow and reduce your ability to borrow more, and you hit a wall on how many properties you can own. It's not that cash flow is wrong. It's just often early. So people swing between extremes. I just wanted to wash its space, then wonder why nothing scales. Or growth at all costs. Then life gets tighter and the portfolio becomes stressful. Here's what it looks like in real life. Someone buys a high-yield regional property, 6.5% yield, and extra $50 a week. It feels safe. Then a few years later, a stronger market runs hard, and that $50 a week looks tiny compared to the equity they missed. Now, let me show you the sequence that stops this from happening. Think of property investing like climbing a mountain. You don't get to pick your favorite camp and live there forever. You move through stages in order, or you risk getting stranded halfway up. Stage 1 is accumulation. This is your booster rocket phase. Your job isn't to maximize short-term cash flow, it's to build equity while still sleeping at night. You want high demand, high liquidity, strong fundamentals, and growth that can compound. The stage 1 question is simple. How quickly can I build equity without blowing up my lifestyle? In a moment, I'll show you the numbers that prove why stage 1 matters most. Stage 2 is consolidation. This is a stage most people skip. And when they skip it, portfolios start to wobble. This is where you improve security, reduce risk, and get the portfolio working together. Maybe your broker says your borrowing capacity is tightening, or like throws you a curveball, kids, business, retirement. This is where you might restructure debt or replace an underperforming asset. The stage 2 question is, how do I keep growing without becoming fragile? Stage 3 is freedom. This is the summit. Now, your portfolio job is to fund your lifestyle. Growth built the base, cash flow pays you to enjoy it. Work becomes optional, not because you got lucky, but because you followed the sequence. Miss a stage or do them out of order, and you can stall before you ever reach the top. Concepts are nice. Numbers make this real. Two investors, same starting point, a $500,000 property. Investor A buys in a market averaging 7% growth. Investor B buys in a market averaging 4% growth. After 15 years, A is roughly around $1.38 billion. B is roughly around $900,000. That's about $480,000 in equity difference. That can be your next deposit or the reason you never buy again. And the big point is this: that gap exists even if investor B had better cash flow along the way. Because rent helps you hold, but equity helps you scale. To take the guesswork out of this debate, I have built a simple property analyzer. Plug in your numbers and you'll see side by side how cash flow and equity stack up over time for a property. Now, why does this matter so much right away? Because the Australian market is punishing random buying. In Sydney, the median home is over 13 times the average income. Nationally, it's around 8 times. Vacancy rates have been around 1%. Rents are at record highs. And holding costs matter more than ever. So in this environment, every purchase has to be strategic, no guesswork. Now, how do you avoid guessing which markets are likely to deliver stage 1 growth? Use this. When I'm shortlisting suburbs, I start with a simple 5-point filter. Screenshot this if you like. Vacancy rates under 2%. Population and jobs trending up. Multiple economic drivers, not just one industry or employer. Affordable relative to local incomes. In ongoing investment, infrastructure, transport, schools. If a suburb fails 2 or more, move on. That's a 3-minute sanity check. Once a suburb passes this filter, then you do the second step. Run the numbers properly. I run the projections through a property analyzer so I can see how the growth assumptions and cash flow actually stack up over time, not just in year 1. This week, pick one suburb you're curious about and run it through that filter. If it passes, it deserves deeper research. If it fails, it's nice. Here's your reality check. If you are earlier in your journey, ask yourself, what 1 or 2 growth assets could meaningfully move the needle for you over the next decade? If you are later in the game, ask what mix of cash flow assets would make your lifestyle costs boring and predictable, no matter what the market does. If you are mid-journey, ask what needs consolidating so borrowing doesn't tighten. Sequence is everything. Growth builds your wealth, cash flow preserves it. Real freedom comes from balancing both at the right time. You have now got the roadmap, but here's the catch. Most portfolios go wrong by holding the wrong asset or the wrong stage of life. Almost every investor I speak to has at least one property that's out of sync. Maybe it's dragging on serviceability. Maybe it isn't growing. Or it's creating stress for no real upside. That's not a failure. It's just a portfolio that needs to catch up to your life. The good news, it's fixable with the right plan. As an independent conflict-free buyer's agent, I've helped hundreds of Australians, families source investment-grade properties tailored to their stage, accumulation, consolidation, or freedom. If you want, comment stage and tell me where you are at, early, mid, or late, and how many properties you own. If you want a proper plan, there's a strategy call link in the pinned comment. On that call, we'll review borrowing capacity, pressure test the portfolio, and map your next 1 to 2 moves. Not ready for a call? That's fine. Run your numbers first with a property analyzer in the pinned comment. Don't just watch, apply it. Hope this helped you think differently about your portfolio. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.